A mass shooting at the NFL headquarters in Midtown Manhattan, Cole. Not the way that any of us wanted to start any show ever, but just an awful way to have to start the show here on a Tuesday here on the Fan Upstate. Welcome into the show. It's Wire to Wire. He's Cole Bryson. My name is Diesel. And, you know, this story that broke late yesterday has so many elements, not only of just cultural mass shooting, gun crisis issues, but also it hits directly home here to us as sports fans because it, at least as far as the note of the shooter was concerned, thought he had CTE, and he blamed the NFL for it for some reason. And look, I know more and more information is going to come in about this in the coming days as the investigation continues, as investigators are able to get in contact with friends and family and people he knew in the past, Cole. But, man, this one, it hits home to us as sports fans in a completely different way, knowing what Shane Devon Tamura was targeting.
Yeah. No doubt. I'll tell you this. I liked what Aaron Glenn said today, as many coaches spoke this morning in their daily spring training press conference, Diesel, and the ones closer to New York, for example, the New York Jets, Aaron Glenn spoke about it, and I did like what he said, and I think he's in a tough position, not just him, but everybody who is trying to stay focused on their job, especially up in that area. But also has to realize that there were 4 people killed yesterday, and the families of those that were killed, we can't imagine what they're going through on a random Monday at the end of July. He said Aaron Glenn started talking about the fact that Diesel training camp was his job, his priority, but he also said that we're deeply grateful to law enforcement officers that responded quickly. And the synopsis of what Aaron Glenn said this morning, the head coach of the New York Jets, was that his thoughts and prayers were with the families, but it's tough to go on about his normal job because obviously with the Jets being right there in New York, it does hit a little closer to home for them.
Yeah, and look, I didn't really know a whole lot about this until this morning because, we are still, we're at the tail end of not a lot to talk about. So we, I don't know about you, but I like to take these final opportunities to sort of finish up the show, go home, unplug, watch something funny, take my mind off of sports, because I know we're going to be diving into it headlong, nonstop, starting here in a couple of weeks. So I wasn't really, aware of much of what was going on until I woke up this morning and turned on SportsCenter. And again, more information on this is going to continue to come out in the coming days. But here's what we know. A shooting took place at 345 Park Avenue at East 52nd Street in Midtown Manhattan. That's about 3 blocks away, Cole, from where I used to work when I was interning in New York City. It's the office building that houses the NFL headquarters. Blackstone, which is an investment firm that does mostly real estate.
Not
KPMG,
the grills.
No, not the grills. I was like, wow, they're doing well for themselves if they got a New York City office. But the shooting began just before 6:30 p.m. local time yesterday. It was 27-year-old Shane Devon or Devon, I'm not sure which, Tamura of Las Vegas. He was armed with what appeared to be an M4 style rifle. He was wearing body armor and reportedly had a history of mental health issues. We're going to get deeper into that, but he was targeting, Cole, the NFL offices, and this is awful what happened. To have 4 people lose their lives and to have 1 more be injured. But imagine, Cole, if this guy, this lunatic, had shown up during business hours and while key NFL officials were in the building, and he went to the right floor.
Yeah, they said he took the wrong elevator. And I'll tell you what, the first thing that popped in my head last night when I heard the story, a buddy of mine told me about it, Diesel, is the first thing that went to my mind is, man, how easy is it to access NFL offices? I don't know exactly, how far you could make it, past the girl who sits at the front desk and takes everybody coffee every morning. But I don't know how far you can make it. The scary thing is, though, if it weren't for him, let me back up. Another scary part of the story, aside from what happened, is that if he were to have made it to the right floor, who knows what his plan was, right? So
Sure.
It's tragic regardless, because 4 people lost their life, and then the guy who decided to, for whatever reason, do this that you claimed, or that you said claimed earlier, maybe, I don't know where they found this out, but he claimed to have CTE.
I think they found it in the note that was on his body.
Oh, in his note.
Yeah.
Okay. So in the note, he claimed that he had CTE. And then they came out, this morning and said he never played past high school. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. That's
So-
what I've heard so far.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's sad that, something like that happened, to your point, and we're having to talk about it. But I will tell you this. I'm sure that sent shockwaves, even though he didn't make it to the right elevator. I'm sure that still sent shockwaves to the NFL, office and PA.
Yeah. I don't know what the protocols are in that particular building, and I'm sure they are much more advanced than they were when I was interning for a record company. But back then, all I needed was a badge with a little key fob inside of it. Not entirely different from what we have here at our building. But, this particular building is, probably a 30, 40-story high-rise.
Yeah.
And you've got, potentially dozens of companies inside this same building sharing this office space. And at least, this is how it worked when I was there. We were somewhere on, let's call it the 25th floor. And you would enter a bank of elevators that's only set to go to floor 20 through 30.
Yeah.
Also saves those people who are working high up in the building from having to wait for 50 floors worth of passengers before it gets to them. They have a bank of elevators that are dedicated just to their, whatever it is, 5, 10, 15 stories. So basically, your key fob was set to activate the elevators. Like a lot of modern hotels, you can only go to your floor in the hotel. You scan it, it says, boom, you're allowed to, essentially press buttons and open this elevator door, and then you go to your particular floor. How this guy got a hold of a key fob to get onto an elevator in the first place, unless he grabbed it off of one of the victims that he had previously shot, we're not entirely sure. But, man, consider the fact that Roger Goodell could have been in the building at the time. And if he had done his homework better and he intended to inflict that kind of damage, he could have scouted and made sure that he knew Roger Goodell was working that day.
Yeah.
And he could have taken out a handful of big-time NFL officials, which, man, that would have massively rocked the NFL season before it even got started.
I do wonder, though, in terms of the information. Did you say? I didn't hear this. Did you say? Did they end up killing the guy, the shooter?
He shot himself.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So he left a note on his body. You said. I do. Like in New York City, obviously, there's already a lot of escalated security there. Titan security. It's New York City, for crying out loud. But I do wonder. Like, one of the things that popped in my head last night when I heard about it was, man, how does a guy walk down the street with a assault rifle? He must have got out right there, and because I saw pictures, right? The same pictures everybody else saw. He was walking down the street
in his hand, like it
And
was
I'm
no
like,
big deal.
What? Wait, what? Again, it's strange. It's sad, but I just I don't know. I don't know exactly what to take away from this whole story, other than it's sad that somebody is so messed up to where they feel like they have to commit such a horrendous act because of something that's going through their head that they really didn't have. I don't know. It's tough.
Yeah. So, briefly speaking here, the perpetrator, Tamura, entered the lobby, opened fire immediately, fatally shot the security guard on duty, NYPD officer Didarul Islam, who had served as an NYPD officer for 3.5 years, had 2 kids, had a 3rd child on the way. He started shooting as soon as he got into the lobby, killing 3 civilians, 2 men and 1 woman. He critically injured a 5th person who remains in the hospital in critical condition to this point. After moving through the lobby, he went to the 33rd floor, the offices of Rudin Management and other tenants, including Blackwater, fired more shots, killed one more person before shooting himself, a self-inflicted fatal wound. Authorities say he drove across the country, traveling from Colorado.
Man.
He's originally from California, lived in Vegas, but they say he traveled from Colorado through Nebraska and Iowa. I assume, credit card statements or something is how they track this, before he reached New York City yesterday at 4:24 p.m. So an hour and a half goes by. He gets to New York City, an hour and a half goes by, and he makes his way into the building and opens fire. They found that medication that was prescribed to him was recovered inside of his vehicle, yet they don't know, I guess, until an autopsy is performed, whether or not he was up to date taking his medications.
DB on the YouTube stream says news said he was double parked and walked right up, just like the pics showed. I guess there were no good guys with a gun that saw it immediately and could have stepped in. Well, New York City, it's obviously really crowded, but the fact that, I don't know, man, that just blows my mind. Like, those pictures almost, how, they don't look real. There's a guy walking down through New York City with an assault rifle.
It's all that area is professional office buildings. Yeah. So, yes, it is. Place. Yes, it is New York City. Yes, there's a bajillion people living in New York City. But by 6:30 in the afternoon, in an area that's dominated by office buildings, you got to think it's plausible that a majority of the people are out of there, right? Yeah. So it's not a really, densely packed at that exact time for somebody to be able to park and walk right out of their vehicle and walk into that building.
I tell you what's sad, man, is on the one of the news articles that I was reading, Diesel, there's a picture. It's a double pic, like a split in the middle. The picture on the left is of him walking into the building, with the gun, and it's a terrible look. And then the picture on the right is him playing high school football in his uniform. And,
right.
It just looks so, the
normal guy.
Look innocent, normal guy. And it just makes you think, we all wonder when these things, not only these type of incidents, but incidents in general like this happen, you wonder what's going through somebody's head to where they think that this is a smart option. And we'll never know, because we don't. Hopefully, we won't ever go through those type of things and have those type of thoughts. But it just goes to show, man, there are people who are battling some serious demons up in that head of theirs.
Yeah, reports suggest that he was targeting NFL offices over a CTE diagnosis, and this was in the note that they found on his body. CTE diagnosis, and it's weird, Cole, because the NFL had nothing to do with his CTE diagnosis, right? He played high school football, never played college football, never played professional football. This guy just snapped in his brain for some reason and said, I'm going to blame the NFL, I guess because, the majority of the reporting when you talk about CTE revolves around the NFL. It doesn't revolve around the high school level. It doesn't revolve around the college level.
You said something about an autopsy earlier. I guess we don't know yet if he actually had CTE.
No, I haven't seen anything. I would imagine something like that takes a couple of days.
And even if he did, we have to be careful. This is just, my opinion. We have to be careful even though CTE is a horrible thing, we have to be careful not to just pretend CTE can cause a person to go shoot up a building.
Sure.
Normal people, even with CTE, don't do that. So it's tragic. It really is.
And it's worth noting that the note on his body alluded to the fact that he felt he had CTE. We don't know if that means there was any kind of a medical diagnosis whatsoever. He may have just said, well, I think I have the symptoms of this, and he very well may have. We don't know the kind of hits that he took when he played high school football back in California. We just don't know.
Yeah, I just feel for the families of the four victims and the injuries. I think there were a couple injured as well.
At least one.
Yeah,
that we know of.
It's tough, and the reality is New York City, even as big of a city as they are, they can't have enough policemen out there to protect every single thing like this from happening. It's
Yeah.
just it's horrible all the way around.
I mean, I would imagine that this office building had maybe just the one police officer, an off-duty police officer in the building. Otherwise, it's general building security, unarmed building security, and one essentially like we all had in probably middle school, high school, a resource officer whose job it is to just kind of be there in case something happens. But when it happens that lightning fast, it's really, really hard to have the best possible positive outcome. Here's a statement that Roger Goodell sent out today to all NFL employees. Quote, as has been widely reported, a gunman committed an unspeakable act of violence in our building at 345 Park Avenue. One of our employees was seriously injured in this attack. He is currently in the hospital and in stable condition. NFL staff are at the hospital, and we are supporting his family. We believe that all of our employees are otherwise safe and accounted for, and the building has nearly been cleared. So I would assume that was actually later yesterday evening, not today. But the truth is, Cole, we don't know what kind of actual medical situation was going on inside of Shane Tamura. We don't know if he had any kind of a support system whatsoever in Las Vegas. We don't know if he had family around him. We don't know if he had friends around him. We don't know if anybody even noticed that anything was wrong with this guy. We don't know if he was a loner. We don't know much about him at this point.
Yeah, you don't, and that's what makes it scary, right? Just like the stories you heard after 9/11, where a lot of the suspects, Diesel, were just everyday citizens. You just don't know what people are going through. They could be right next to you, right across from you, sitting next to you at work, down the hall from you. You never know. It's tough. Yeah. That's why, like I said the other day about the Daniel situation, man, there's not enough love in this world, and even when you think there is enough love, I think there's still room for some more.
Yeah, and the question is, what do we think comes out of this? And I think probably not much, to be honest. I mean, we've grown so callous to mass casualty events like this. I remember being in high school when Columbine happened. I might have been in middle school, and it shut the country down for days dealing with this. And then we hear it happening all too regularly, and a lot of time it's barely even featured on the news.
Yeah.
It's really sad. It's really sad. And, everybody's going to go off to their corners. 2A folks are going to go to their corners, and the gun control folks are going to go off to their corners, and they're just going to yell at each other from across the aisle, and nothing is going to budge in either way. Maybe the answer is a little bit of both. I don't know. It's hard to say. People just don't want to budge in any way, shape, or form on this issue. I think all we can do, like you said, with there needs to be more love in this world. We need to be more aware of the people around us and what they're going through, and helpful to them in any way that we can be.
No doubt. Before we run to a break, Diesel, I do want to get a little credit to Jack Veltri to lighten the mood a little bit and get us back on the sports track. Shane Beamer yesterday was in the Daily Wires, if you remember, Diesel, for the hiring of Jeff Collins, who was previously at Georgia Tech. And yesterday, birdies with Beamer in the afternoon. They had a media session, and Shane Beamer was asked about it. I heard this audio this morning and wanted to bring it to you. Gamecock Tolos out there. Here was Jack Veltri, Gamecock Central, good friend of the show. You hear him on here a lot. And Shane Beamer's response as to why he did add Jeff Collins.
Jeff Collins joining staff. What can you tell us about him, and just what's your excitement level to bring him aboard?
Yeah, really. You guys know me, and I was, telling Jay Phillips and Will outside that I'm not a guy that just hires people to hire people. I'll never want to be the head coach that has the biggest staff in the country. I'm not that guy. I want everybody to, if you bring somebody into our program, there's a reason you're bringing them in. And certainly with Jeff, there's a reason. He's a really talented coach. You look at his background in coaching, the places he's been, who he's worked with, the roles that he's had. Obviously, he's been a defensive coordinator. And in the SEC, he's been in the personnel world doing that at Alabama for Nick Saban back when they really cranked it up as well. So he's got that experience. He's been a head coach, and I think anytime you can have multiple head coaches on your staff, that's a great thing. And we have that with Sean Elliott and Mike Shula and Mike Furry.
So, again, we touched on it yesterday, but I wanted to get that audio out there from Birdies with Beamer yesterday, and obviously it happened when we were on the air, so we didn't get a chance to make it down there, Diesel. But Jeff Collins, Shane Beamer says he's not a guy that just hires anybody just to increase the staff, but with the new changes recently, you remember we talked about it, a year or so ago with college football in terms of how many people you can have on staff and how they can be active. Shane Beamer saw it. And I'll tell you this, I'm surprised nobody else hired Jeff Collins before Shane Beamer did. I think it could turn into a good hire.
Yeah, I like any coach that is able to hire other head coaches because you don't get to that place. You don't rise to that level in your job unless you're a smart guy and you know what you're talking about. And so to be able to stack a lot of minds like that into one coaching staff, only good things can come of it.
A loaded show coming your way. We're going to look at the top 3 Braves prospects coming up at the end of the hour. Also a new segment idea. We'll see if you Tolos like it. I put you Tolos and Diesel to the test at 4 o'clock. A little blind resume, Phil Still edition. 4:20, Bill Bender of Sporting News joins the show. It's National Chicken Wing Day today, if you Tolos did not know. I love it. I love it. We'll remind you how the Upset Picks Challenge happens. Hunter Renfrow, audio from his press conference, and a lot more. But next, Diesel, I'm going to play the side that I don't typically play, the side opposed to the player. Micah Parsons has yet to be signed as a Dallas Cowboy unless it happens in the next 4 minutes while we run to commercial break. I'm going to play the side that tells you and the Tolos why I think the Cowboys are making the right decision in holding out. That's next. Diesel, only 2 of the last 10 Super Bowl champions have had a top 5 paid defender. Should the Dallas Cowboys budge when it comes to Micah Parsons asking for, I don't know, $42 million a year, which is a roughly a 5-year deal, Diesel, worth $200 million or so. And if Micah Parsons were to sign a 5-year extension worth $200 million, you know who else in the NFL would be making that kind of money, Diesel? Nobody. You know who else in the NFL would have ever made that kind of money? Nobody. That money that Micah Parsons is asking for is quite egregious for his position. And look, quarterbacks make a lot of money, right? Deservingly so. But Micah Parsons is in this holdout, and in this segment, I want to play the side of Jerry Jones. I don't know why, but I am. And I'll tell you, I just don't know when you look at the numbers that Micah's wanting. When you look at what he's done, I know he's one of the best players, if not the best player at his position in the NFL. I just don't know if Micah Parsons is worth $200 million on your books, Diesel.
Yeah, but if you don't have him, what do you have on defensive end? Who do you have at defensive end?
You don't have him.
Exactly.
And he's a big loss. I mean, he would be a big loss.
Look, I've probably said on this show a half a dozen times or more that I really don't like this culture of make me the highest paid player at my position just because I'm good. That's how salaries get bumped up to ridiculous numbers year over year over year. You wish you could say, here's the valuation of this position. Here's what you're producing relative to the top guys at your position in the NFL. If you're giving us 80% of what the best player in the NFL at this position is giving us, then you're going to get 80% of his salary.
Yeah.
You wish that could be the case, but, these agents are really good. That's the thing is NFL, these players are good, but their agents are better.
Look, Diesel, will not argue with you or anybody when it comes to how valuable Micah Parsons is. And that's where I go back and forth in my head on what side of this argument I want to be on. I won't argue with you. He's valuable. He is electric to watch. He drew comparisons as soon as he came into the NFL of some of the all-time greats, and rightfully so. I just don't know. When I watch these Dallas Cowboys year after year, they had Dan Quinn, one of the best defensive coordinators in the game. Now he's in Washington as the head coach, as we all know. I don't know that Micah Parsons, who was on a defense last year that was ranked 28th in total yards, 31st in points allowed, I don't know, Diesel, that Micah Parsons alone automatically cashes your check to a Super Bowl. Am I going to argue with you that he's not valuable? No, I'm not going to. He is valuable. I just think you have to have a lot more than Micah Parsons. And my whole theory behind this argument is go ahead and tie him up. Go ahead and tie him up like you, or tie the team's cap up like you did when you signed Zeke and Dak and everybody else. And then once you sign him to this $200 million contract, you come and tell me how much flexibility you have when you have to go sign George Pickens next year, when you have to sign these guys down the line. From a financial standpoint, to me, it doesn't make sense.
Maybe they should, and maybe Jerry Jones, this is the last great thing he does before he finally leaves the sport and leaves you Dallas Cowboy fans in peace. Maybe Jerry Jones should invent and implement some form of a scarlet letter, right? God. And you can put that scarlet letter on somebody's jersey. Maybe it's the dollar sign stitched right there on their shoulder pad that says, this guy is so overpaid that he's the reason why we can't afford anybody else.
Well, I think they all are. They all are, not just in Dallas and the NFL. I think they're all overpaid. Am I the guy that's going to stand on the street corner and yell, NFL players are overpaid, they make more than everyone? No, I'm not going to do that, because it's us as fans that are the reason they're paid. We buy, we watch, we sign, right? We spend our money so that they can make more. I'm not that guy, but I do think that there are a lot of Dallas Cowboys who have, over the years, Diesel, somebody who has watched every single Cowboys game for the past, I don't know how many years. That's the story of the Cowboys. Everybody wants to talk about Jerry Jones, and this is the problem, and Dak, and all these different problems. But when it boils down to it, we're having this discussion of making money, of being the highest paid player, highest paid player ever at that position. When it all boils down to it, Diesel, the Dallas problem that they've had is that the players they pay the most money to haven't performed when the lights have been the brightest, and that's where I'm coming from. That's what scares me as a Cowboys fan, is that this has never worked. It's been 29 years since we made it to a conference championship game. I've seen this movie before, and I know how it ends.
So you'd have to help me out a little bit more on this, because I know you're deeply entrenched with the Dallas Cowboys. When Zeke got paid the way that he did he perform commensurate to the level of focusing just on him and his play?
Yeah.
Did he perform to the level of one of the highest paid running backs in the league?
I'd answer by doing that.
Barely?
Yeah, so
Okay.
here's to answer your question in all seriousness, Diesel, he's a running back, right?
Yeah.
So running back shelf lives, as we all know in the NFL, are not long. It's a short span of a prime of a running back, right?
Sure.
So you have a guy like Zeke come in, he out of the gate as a rookie. I mean, he's like, oh my God, this best running back in the NFL, right? Out of Ohio State. He's electric. Then you pay him all this money in 3 or 4 years when his rookie contract's over. But guess what also happens to a running back, Diesel, after the rookie contract?
They break down.
They're not the same.
Right.
So you pay them all this money, they're still good, but we saw the Dallas way overpaid for Zeke. Dallas thought Zeke was a guy, again, loyal Jerry, paid him all this money, tied him up, and in his prime didn't equate, I guess to answer your question, no. His prime didn't equate to every single dollar that he earned over the course of that big contract. I mean, his kids and kids' kids are and kids are now okay because of the contract Jerry gave him.
Well, the reason I asked that question, and I would ask the same question about Dak Prescott, and I know Dak has been injured, and I know you believe Dak is one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL when he's healthy.
Yeah.
He's just banged up a lot. Part of that is just bad luck. Part of that is not having a particularly great offensive line that can block for him and keep dudes off of him. But the reason I asked that question is Jerry Jones has, over the last 10, 15 years, he's in this pendulum swing back and forth. He's either super loyal to a guy who's mediocre, or he really doesn't want to pay up the guy that he knows could be really good. And the question is, what message does that send to other players, to free agents? Does that say Jerry Jones is really tough to deal with when it comes to the negotiating table?
Yeah.
Could that potentially be a reason why other really good free agents don't want to come to Dallas
100%.
because they don't want to
Yes.
battle with Jerry Jones in a
Yes.
year or two whenever it's time to re-up that contract? So, it's such a hard place to be in, because if you don't pay him, you're telling all these other free agents, especially defensive ends, don't come here because Jerry's not going to pay you. But if you do pay him, you over leverage your team so much that you can't afford any of those other free agents.
Now, I want to be very clear, Diesel. I think ultimately my prediction is I think a deal will get done. I do. However, going back to kind of what you said at the very beginning of the segment on his value, I'm with you on his value. He's at his position, he might be the best in the league. There are only a few better than him at his position, right? Mm-hmm. However, my whole thing is, look, you overpay for Parsons. Well, if you want to call it overpaying, whatever. You pay this big contract to Parsons. I think when you do that, ask Cincinnati and Trey Hendrickson, I think when you do that, you weaken the rest of the defense. Mm-hmm. Well, you say, Cole, how does that make sense? Because your best player's on the defense. You don't weaken the defense when it's your best player on the field. Well, that's true until he gets hurt. And everybody wants to – here's my thing. Everybody wants to criticize Jerry because he made that comment the other day about, well, I overpaid for Dak, and what happened? Dak got hurt. But from a business standpoint, Jerry's 100% right. Like, you have to have ROI in business, right? You have to have a return on your investment. And Jerry Jones, for as many dumb decisions as he's made – in 29 years, he hasn't had a single return on his investment. So he's to blame on that because he's made bad investments. But at the same time, at the end of the day, you know it, and the Tolos know it out there as well. The players have to play. They have to produce, and they haven't.
Yeah, and look, you got to pay them based on what they could be if they stay healthy. This is a rough and tumble league, man. You can get paid all this money, but there's no guarantee you're going to stay healthy over the course of that contract. There's no guarantee that you don't go out there and play one practice. And we talked about it yesterday in our daily wires when we list off 3, 4, 5 guys that have had some not insignificant issues in training camp that could take you out for the entire season. The guy had an ACL tear in the news yesterday. So I mean, it's a scary thing, right? You can blow up that investment in 12 hours as soon as the guy hits the practice field. You just don't know.
And that's my whole thing. Like as a Cowboys fan, let's say the deal got done tonight, right? Everybody would celebrate and say, "Oh, Micah's there, rely whatever." But at the same time, like if I go out Diesel and buy a Lamborghini, that's sexy, but guess what else? I might not have enough money to go buy a cheeseburger tonight, right? Like I might be starving in the Lamborghini, and that's my whole point.
But it's a case of managing risk, right? If you pay Micah Parsons this, what was it, almost $50 million a year, $42 million a year that he wants, you pay him. You might get that 52 sacks out of you that he has had over the course of his 4 years in the league. But if you don't pay him and you go out and you hire a bunch of bums that you can collect together for that $200 million, well, then you're definitely not going to get the 12, 13 sacks a year out of him, right? So there's no guarantee that if you let him walk, he is a known quantity. He is a known quantity of 12 and a half sacks a season. If you let him walk, there's no guarantee you get any of that back with the quote-unquote second-rate guys you get without Micah Parsons.
RJ asked for on the text line, Diesel, if you'll, real quick, before we run to a break, I haven't done this, so I can't give the answer without doing it live on the air. If you'll click that link, I just put on the rundown. RJ asked on the Hub City Spartanburgers text line, Cole, what are your expectations in terms of record, playoffs, etc.? Off the cuff, I'll do a win-loss real quick. I'll tell you what my Cowboys will do.
Okay, week 1 at Philadelphia.
Loss, 0-1.
Week 2, home against the Giants.
1-1.
Week 3 at Chicago.
2-1.
Week 4, home versus Green Bay.
2-2.
Okay. Week 5 at the New York Jets.
I'll go 3-2.
3-2. Week 6 at the Carolina Panthers.
4-2.
Week 7 at home against the Commanders.
4-3. That's a loss.
Okay. The next week at Denver.
That's a coin flip. I'll go win 5-3, but close win.
Okay. Next game is at home against the Cardinals.
I'll go win.
Okay, you got about 6
and 3. Is that right?
6 and 3
Pretty
going
good.
into the bye.
Pretty good.
Let's pick back up with Monday, November 17th at Las Vegas.
Win. 7-3.
23rd of November against Philadelphia at home.
7-4.
7-4. Then the Chiefs at home.
7-5.
Then the Lions on the road.
7-6.
Whew.
That's a brutal stretch, isn't it?
Minnesota at home. You had about
I'll go 8-6 there.
8-6.
I'll go win there.
All right. Hosting the Chargers.
Loss 8-7.
On the road at Washington.
Loss 8-8.
8-8, and then finishing the season at MetLife Stadium against the New York Giants.
9-8.
9-8. For a team that started really hot, you had them at 7-4, 7-3, 7-4,
like that.
to finish just one game over 500.
That's a brutal stretch at the end, man.
Is tough.
That's tough. So there you go, RJ. There's 9-8 off the cuff. That sounds good enough to me.
When we come back, Cole, a little episode of Help is on the way very quickly for Braves fans who are just done with this team. Who do the Braves have coming up through the ranks? And considering that we have a Red Sox affiliate right down the road and we have a Rangers affiliate just up the road as well, who are the best prospects currently seated on the Drive and Spartanburgers rosters? Help is on the way. Coming up next.
I'm calling the president. President, we need a National Guard. We need as many men as you can spare because we are killing the Patriots. So call the dogs off. Send the National Guard, please. They need emergency help. Please help these folks. They're coming. Help is on the way. Help is on the way. Help is on the way, I promise you.
That's a goal. That's gold right there, Diesel.
Help is on the way.
Oh my God! Great job pulling that one.
Shannon Sharp, man. How
Oh
about
my
that?
goodness! Help is on the way. At least we hope when it comes to the Atlanta Braves. Who, Cole, I'm not sure that there's enough guys in their entire farm system to save them from where they are right now. They've got like one really good pitcher, and they've got like no hitters. And we really can't explain why so many of Atlanta's hitters have fallen off this year and they're not producing offensively. But pitching is really letting them down. Basically, every phase of the game is letting them down. Ask me tomorrow, and we'll say it's the hitters. Ask me the next day, we'll say it's the pitchers. But when you look at who the Braves have in their farm system and prospects that are on the way, Cole, they got a lot of pitchers sitting inside the top 10 of their prospect list. I don't know how the Atlanta Braves are going to be able to put the ball into play over the coming seasons as some of these players that they've got on their roster start getting a little bit older. How are they going to start replacing any bats? That I'm not really sure about, but they got a ton of talented pitchers coming up.
You know, Diesel, I think you're either in two boats as a MLB franchise or an organization. I think you're in one of the two boats. I think boat one is the same boat the Braves were in 10 years ago when they said, hey, let's blow it up, start over. This is a long-term rebuild, right? They blew it up, traded everybody, traded Justin Upton, traded Michael Hay, traded everybody, and they rebuilt the farm system. And it worked, right? 2021, they won a championship. They could have won one or two more championships. That was the boat they were in then. You're either in that boat or you're Diesel, either in the boat of you've got way too much talent to blow this thing up. And I think that's the boat the Braves are in now, to where they're in boat two. I'm not saying that farm system stuff doesn't matter, but like I just don't think boat two has made it to boat one yet, to where we don't have any talent. We got to blow this thing up and start over from scratch. This Braves organization, in my mind, needs to look at free agency as a tool instead of looking down at the farm system and saying, well, what can come up and help us? They're just way too talented. There was no aggression in the offseason last year by AA, but something has to give there.
Maybe the strategy is that we're going to bring our arms up, our pitching staff up through our own farm system, and then we're going to buy bats. That has to be the strategy because 8 out of their top 10 prospects are pitchers right now. Number one prospect, Cam Caminiti, who is currently in the Braves' low A system. He's not expected to make it to the majors until 2028. J.R. Ritchie, right-handed pitcher, their number 2 prospect. He's in AAA right now. He's not expected to make it until 2027. Nacho Alvarez, he's an infielder. He's played a little bit already. Drew Hackenberg, he's made it up to the majors a little bit. Didier Fuentes. Look, these guys are going to need some time to develop, but it looks like they got a lot of arms on their way up. Maybe it's time to just clean house, hang on to Spencer Strider, clean house, and bring all of them up together.
How did we get here so quick? I mean, weren't we just in this position? We were just here. This is not supposed to happen this quick. I mean, this thing has fallen apart way too quick.
And in case you were wondering, the number 2 prospect inside of the Rangers organization, Malcolm Moore, is currently playing just up the road at Fifth Third Park in Spartanburg. First-round guy, Malcolm Moore. Also, Dylan Dreiling. He is the number 10 prospect in the Rangers organization right now. And if you look right down here in downtown Greenville, shortstop, second baseman Franklin Arias, 19 years old. He is the Boston Red Sox number 1 prospect. That's big, man, and we got him right here.
Tolos, I am putting you to the test. Today, you have Diesel on your side. When we do it again, we'll reverse the roles where you have me on your side. It probably will be worse then, but a little blind resume, Phil Still edition. I give the information, the facts. Tolos, you and Diesel, tell me which team it is that I'm talking about. That's next. for calling on the absolute smartest Tolos out there. If you claim to know ball, and in this case, college football, now is your opportunity. Now's your chance to shine. A little blind resume here in this very segment before we bring on Bill Bender of The Sporting News to talk a little college football in about 20 minutes.
So in the next segment, the real smart people are going to show
For
up.
sure.
I got you.
100%. And that's when you really want to lean in. But right now, Diesel, we need the Tolos to activate, engage. What do you call it? Like when you're playing a video game? I don't play video games, and user A enters the game and it pops
Player
up.
one enters the chat.
There you go. Player one. DB has already entered the game, the competition. He says, I'm here. I'm ready on the YouTube stream. Tolos, Diesel needs your help on this. Again, in the future leading up to college football and the NFL, we'll switch and rotate, and I'll embarrass myself. But we're going to do a little blind resume, Diesel, Phil Steele edition.
Okay.
You and I both have these wonderful Phil Steele college football preview magazines, right?
Yep, they're great. They're
great.
They're a wealth of knowledge, almost too much knowledge, to be
It
honest.
is. It's a lot. 350 plus pages, right, of college football. And here's how this works.
And I think once on every single page, Phil Steele has to put on there how right he is all the time.
Oh, 100%.
Because he puts that in there a lot.
Yeah. He's not wrong. He's not wrong about anything. Here's how this works. I'm going to give you some details about a certain team, about a certain program, Diesel. And I'm going to start by giving you some vague details, and then I'll work my way up and make it more obvious. We'll see how long this goes.
How many clues is it going to take for me to get the right answer?
I don't think it's going to take as many as you think. I think you'll get it. Now, I'm not going to go to the back of the book here and pick ULM Warhawks. I'm not going to do that to you, okay?
Okay.
So I'm going to make it a little bit manageable. But the Tolos out there, turn it on, leave it on, those listening, are asked to help Diesel in this very segment, to be his lifeline. Tag up, team up with Diesel, and let's knock these out. Our first, and by the way, if at any point you need the ultimate assistance, Diesel, and you need to know what conference they're in, that'll help. That'll help. I'll be
Sure.
glad to give that to you.
Okay.
Philip Moore says Texas. You're right. Game's
Nailed it.
over. That's it. Then that, ladies and gentlemen, is blind resume. No, that one's too easy. Everybody knows. Everybody's talking about Texas in 2025. Tolos, Diesel needs your help beginning right now. Diesel, this team is the only original team in their division without a trip to the conference title game. So, I tell you that to say, in 2022, this team was known as the king of the portal. They brought in 15-plus transfers. They were favored in their first 7 games last season. The quarterback obviously left the program. I'm not going to tell you when or who it was because that would give it away. But this year, it is a new look on offense. And I will also tell you, do you already have a guess that quick?
Not a clue.
Okay. I was going to say, you're really good at this game.
I need to go back to clue number 1. The only team in their division.
Yep, think old division, right?
In their
think,
old division, okay.
yeah, because, you know,
in their
this,
old division that never made a trip to the conference championship game.
That's right.
Never in their old division.
So that does give you a little bit of a hint in terms of, okay,
This is not a great program.
Not historically.
Not an historically great program.
Not historically.
Okay.
They will, I can give you some.
There's a lot. There's a lot to think of there.
There's a lot to think of.
Washington State?
No. Good guess, though. All right, next clue, Diesel. Let's go to the top right. They bring back 6 starters on offense, 6 on defense. They lost a good bit. They went 10-3 in
Okay,
2024.
Good team.
Good team. Good team.
Wouldn't be NC State.
10-3 last season, replacing their
10-3.
quarterback.
Replacing a quarterback.
Oh, we got some guesses on the text line already.
Alabama?
Negative. And
No, Alabama only won 9 games last year.
and the text on the text line are not correct either, by the way.
10-3.
So RJ guesses Tennessee. Texter from the 491 guesses Colorado. Good guess, but not correct. All right. I
not
will
Nebraska.
also tell you, Diesel, last year they lost their number 2 and number 5 tacklers. So defensively, they really lost a lot. Let me see what else I can give you without giving it away. Let's go to quarterback. The quarterback threw. Oh, I'll give you this. I think I can give you this. Last year's quarterback that's no longer with the program was a transfer. I'm not going to tell you where. He threw for 2,974 yards.
Is it UNLV?
No, I wouldn't do that to you.
Oh.
I wouldn't do that
You wouldn't
to
give me a G5 team.
No, I wouldn't do that. Not yet. Not yet.
So you're eliminating. Okay, good. You're eliminating half of college football. That helps. That's helpful information to this point.
I'm going to try to help you out a little bit, okay? Let's see.
A team that won 10 games last year. It's not. Is it South Carolina?
Nope.
No.
Diesel,
No, they
last
didn't win
year,
10 games.
their quarterback played in the bowl game and set the single season passing mark with 4,297 yards and was also a number 2 rusher.
God, who was good last year? Who lost?
I'm going to give you a little more, but
This
let's
is
see.
hard, man.
It is hard. Texter says from the 491 Illinois, incorrect.
Is it Indiana?
No, it's not. All right. They opened up last season. I'm going to start creeping to give you more, okay? I'm going to start working my way to you.
Yeah.
They opened up with a 52-0 win
Oh God.
in 2024 against, and I think this will give it away, against Furman. You remember who that team was? 52-0.
Is it Ole Miss?
Ole Miss.
Ole Miss.
Ole Miss. You got it. Ole Miss is the
God.
only original SEC West team,
Really?
Diesel, without a trip to the SEC title game.
God, talk about futility.
Last trip to the SEC title game, 63.
Wow.
Is that not crazy?
Wow.
So Austin Simmons is the sophomore projected
That was
starting
the,
quarterback.
that was the year after the Dallas Cowboys last won something, right?
It's close. And by the way, credit to the 491 and RJ on the Hub City Spartanburgers text line. They both did get it right.
Without that
before.
Furman clue, I wouldn't have got it.
Oh,
That's
it was
hard.
tough. It was tough. Texters
Wow.
also guessed Missouri, Miami. Miami's a good guess. That was a good guess. I didn't think about that one. So you did well there.
So so the hard part was figuring out, was this a bowl team? Was this a playoff team? Because you said 10 wins. Bowl team playoff, because that's like right there on that edge, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And a 10-win team could have been a team that did any 9-win teams make the college
No,
football playoff
no,
last year?
no.
10 was the minimum cutoff.
Tennessee. They were 10-2. I think Tennessee was 10-2. So I'm going to say no to that. I don't think. I think I'm right on that because Tennessee was the only. Remember, Tennessee didn't play in the conference championship, and they made. I think Tennessee. Here we go. Tennessee was 10-3 last year.
Regular season?
Regulars. Yeah. No, they were
Well,
10-2 regular season.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. All right. So let's see what we're going to do here for you. Next.
Oh, we're doing this again.
We're doing it again. Oh yeah.
God,
we're not
man.
done yet. We're
Make
not
me
done
feel
yet.
bad about myself.
No. I'm gonna start differently though.
Okay.
In the next one.
I have to be very careful too because Cole has the magazine over there, and I'm working very hard not to look at it. Okay, so it's like I almost need to have like horse blinders on to prevent myself.
So I've got a couple more teams.
what's up
for
to
you.
Joey Stonisfer?
What's up, Joey?
I think that's Joey's first time on the stream actually commenting.
You got it
Welcome.
right too, by the way.
Welcome to Philip Moore also,
Ole
and
Miss.
Dan B, who we know is watching.
Dan B guessed SMU. Good guess though, but their quarterback returns though.
But
DB.
wrong.
So
Sorry, not to make you feel better.
Diesel, I've got a couple more, but on the
Okay.
next one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a nice hint.
Okay.
This next one is a Big Ten team.
Oh.
Yep, that's a big hint. So that helps you a lot. Okay.
Okay.
This is a Big Ten team, and now I'm trying to hold the magazine like I'm playing cards to make sure.
I'm
like this.
I'm looking anywhere but over towards you.
How's this for the stream, by the way, for those out there? Is this good? Is
Cole,
this-
you've never looked
I
better.
was going to say, this is probably an improvement, right? This is how I'm going to do the entire show from now on, like this. All right, so
That's how Phil Kornbluth does his show.
it is, yeah. I've given you a big hint.
I'm sorry. I'm just picking
No,
on
it's
Phil.
okay.
We
Pick
love
on
Phil.
Phil.
He was one table away from us at ACC Media Days this year.
So a big hint to start and don't Tolos, don't guess before I have even started just because I said Big Ten, but I've eliminated like most of the country.
Okay.
So let's look back a few years. This was a program that in 2021 was 4-8. Their new coach came in, and we felt like they were a legitimate contender in their conference.
Michigan State. Oh, my God.
Good quick guess, though. This team, Diesel, I will tell you, has underperformed due to expectations.
Michigan State.
You've guessed that one already.
Yeah, well, I mean, they've also
Incorrect.
underperformed due to expectations.
Well, they have. But at a quarterback position, they're led by a coach who's put guys not only in the NFL, but as a finalist and winner of the Heisman Trophy. In 2023, their starter threw for 3,633 yards. We interviewed him at that gave it away. I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have said that. Let me back up. Let me hit the dump button. Let's see here. So again, quarterback turnover.
Rutgers.
No.
Is that where you're going with this?
No.
Shiano didn't put people in the league?
He might have. Let me look on the Texter guessed Rutgers, but incorrect there. DB says Maryland, incorrect. Dewey says Purdue. They had 8 starters back a season ago. This year they returned 9 offensively, 7 defensively, and were 7-6. Their head coach is in his 4th season at their program.
It's not Nebraska.
Nope. They were 4-5 in the conference.
Last year?
Yep.
4-5 last year.
Yeah, it's bad. It's really bad. Let's see what else. Let's see. Let's check the text line stream. Nobody's got it yet. Let's see here. Yeah, Heisman.
You're not thinking of like Illinois when Lovie Smith was there.
No.
Jeez.
Nope. The coach previously guided the team to 3 playoff berths in 5 years. He was 73-19 as head coach. He almost made the playoff in his first year here and enters his 4th season, as I said. Has some new experience at the offensive coordinator position. In 2025, they did lose their number 1 receiver last year, just over 1,000 yards. In 2024. What else? What else here?
This is hard.
This one. I told you Big Ten though, right? Did I tell you that? Big Ten.
Yeah, you didn't tell me Big Ten.
Yeah. Let's look over on the right side. I can't believe Dewey says Oregon. No. John Dahl guesses Indiana. No. God, there's a lot of guesses on this one. Buckeye Brian goes Wisconsin.
Almost made. I mean, the only thing I can think of is Southern Cal.
Bingo. Southern Cal. Southern Cal was 4-8 in 2021, Diesel. Lincoln Riley came in and as a legitimate, remember, Pac-12 title contender. Remember that?
Yeah,
Made
see,
the
that
move over?
was
Is
really
that
a
what
trick
threw you off?
question. I was wondering if this was a trick question. I don't know if you
different
meant
conference.
a current Big Ten member or new, you know.
Yep. That was tough. So far, Ole Miss and Southern Cal. There's another text about it on the Hub City Spartanburg text line.
That's hard. I'm sure there are people out there who somehow just know
Wizards,
all of
is what
this
you call
stuff.
them.
Yeah, warlocks who just have this information off the tip of their brain at all times. I'm not one of them, so I need all the information.
Yeah, that's what makes it fun.
You could just if you want to talk about USC, you should have just said coach is a massive disappointment, and then I would have gotten in a heartbeat.
That'd been too easy. I think we've got time for one more.
Yeah, let's do it.
One more. This team, let me make sure you Tolos cannot see. I'm going to put the book in front of my face again. Let's see here. Oh, this one's interesting, Diesel. I have to be careful with this one because if I say too much out of the get-go, you're going to know who it is, okay?
Okay.
Let me look here.
Trying very hard not to look down.
Don't look down. I'm not going to give you the conference because if I gave you the conference, I think you'd guess it.
Okay.
But I will tell you, Diesel, what did we say at the very beginning? You said it's not a G5. I will tell you to open your horizons back up for this one. Open your mind back up.
Thanks.
Gonna end with a tough. I don't know. This one might not be as tough.
Ball State.
God, if you would have got it, I'd have been so mad. No, I would have been so mad, though.
That's literally guessing a number of 1 through 136.
This team, Diesel, that you are and the Tolos are going to guess, blind resume.
Okay.
Their coach took over when he was hired. He took over a team that was coming off of 3 straight 3-9 seasons. The new coach went 4-8, 3-6, then made the most improved list in 2021 when he went 7-5. The bowl game was canceled. In 2022, this team blew out Coastal Carolina in their first bowl since 2014, finished 8-5.
Oh, God.
They were 2 missed field goals away from being 10-3. So they were plus 13 in the turnover margin.
Is this Ohio?
It is not.
Oh.
Good guess, though. Last year was a weird year, Diesel, because they fired their coach. And expectations were trending in the right direction. They were number 121 on Phil Steele's experience chart in 2023. They went 2-10 in 23, which was their worst season since 2004. Again, last year, all indicators were pointing up, and things didn't go as planned.
I'm going to say Georgia Southern.
Nope. Good guess, though.
Philip Moore says App State. App State's never gone 2-10. Thank you very much, Philip.
Oh, boy. Philip goes
If that is your real name.
All right, they went 8-5. See, I will tell you this, man. I'm not going to say that because I don't want to give it away. They returned 4 starters in 2025 on offense, 2 on defense. Went 8-5 a season ago. 8-5 got their coach fired. They were 5-3 in their conference, and their coach was fired. I believe it was a season, 2 seasons ago. 2 seasons ago. Let me look and see. They had an interim.
Wyoming?
No. I think the interim might be a big clue if you think about it. So
I think this texter might be right. East Carolina?
bingo.
Smart guy.
Great job. Who is that?
Smart guy.
491.
That's
Great job.
Keith in Fountain Inn.
There you go.
Keith in Fountain Inn.
Good job.
Wow.
DB also had it on the stream.
Did you?
Yeah,
oh, he did have
he
it.
did.
I didn't even see
He
it.
had
I
it.
didn't see that.
He had it, DB.
Wow.
Good job, DB. And that was before I gave a lot of the clues, too. DB, I don't know what was it, DB, that gave it away for ECU as well as Keith in Fountain Inn.
2-10 and got their coach fired. That's a solid clue.
Yeah, no kidding. Some guesses on the
I
Hub
didn't
City.
even know East Carolina fell that far, to be
Is that
honest.
not bad? 2-10.
That's terrible.
People guessed Tulane on the text line, JMU, Boise State from John Dog. A lot of good guesses. DB said what gave it away was the Coastal Carolina bowl game. Man, DB's a historian, isn't he?
I can't even fathom the number of Coors Lights that were consumed in a Coastal Carolina, East Carolina bowl
But
game.
Diesel, what I will tell you is, as bad as you think you did, I promise you I'll do worse because I'm not good at memorization.
That's basically the brew-through bowl, where you just drive up and pick up your beer.
So you didn't do bad. Good help,
I
though.
I did terribly.
What, you had good help?
I did terribly. But that's a hard thing to do. That's a hard thing to do.
is hard.
You know what's not a hard thing to do? Booking Bill Bender of the Sporting News, because he's awesome. And we ran into him a couple different times at ACC Kickoff. We'll talk to Bill next. Well, media days are always fun because you get to put a face with the name. Oftentimes, a face with a voice that you've heard on your airwaves and you had a chance to chat with many, many times before. And I know I did. I don't know if Cole did. We got the chance to do that very thing with our next guest, Bill Bender of the Sporting News. We got a chance to sip a couple of cocktails together at the social event after day number 2. Bill, appreciate you taking the time to join us. I want to kind of start with a biggie here, Bill. How much merit is there to the reporting over the weekend that there was a backroom handshake deal between North Carolina, Virginia, Clemson, whoever else you want to throw in there, to go ahead and change conferences in the very near future?
I don't see any merit to it, at least that has been reported to me. Realignment rumors are like kindling, right? Like you get a little bit of it and then it just sets on fire. And, of course, that North Carolina rumor came out shortly after the event had concluded. I was ready to go home, but it certainly will never stop. I don't think anybody's leaving the ACC in the immediate future unless the SEC really tries to push them out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Bill, what was your biggest takeaway? Diesel just mentioned the ACC kickoff last week in Charlotte where we saw you. What was your biggest takeaway from the ACC kickoff?
Well, they put on a great event, don't they? I mean, we got to enjoy some of that hospitality. That was one. I think their staff is incredible and the access is great. But, I mean, obviously, what do you guys think the lead story was? It was
Bill Belichick.
Bill Belichick. And, I walked through that hallway, and I know you know what I'm talking about, and there's all the cameramen are lined up, and I'm like, I'm in the way here. And I'm like, oh, they're waiting for Bill Belichick to walk down the hallway so we could all get a shot. But I thought he was engaging. I thought he was friendly. He seemed enthusiastic and sincere about this challenge of coaching college football. I had done NFL games with him in the past, and so I know the frosty Bill Belichick very well, but he was super friendly. It was bizarre.
Bill Bender of the Sporting News. I could just see you right now, Bill. As soon as you zip up the laptop bag, you get the message on your phone going, oh, and then having to stop, take the laptop back out, and do some digging and reporting on the North Carolina news that we talked about. I know that you had a chance to talk to Rich Clark, the executive director for the CFP. So did we. And Cole and I chatted about it on our show immediately after he got up and walked away, that it's proof that there are smart people in the room. There are people who love football in the room, despite what a lot of people think. It's not just guys in really expensive suits who just want to, extract more money out of college football. But, if the room is full of people who love football, why is the answer when it comes to what we should do with the college football playoff never, ever contraction? The answer is always, well, let's expand it and let's do this to it, when a lot of fans are saying very publicly and very loudly, we'd rather you not go to 16. We'd rather you not go to 14. We'd rather you shrink it back down to something smaller.
Yeah, and they can't come to an agreement. Everybody wants what they want. I think Jim Phillips is kind of a middleman in this situation because the ACC obviously producing a ton of revenue as well. The Big Ten and the SEC want two very different things. And you guys know I live up in Big Ten country, but I'm not a fan of this automatic qualifier idea of let's put 4 teams in the playoff automatically. You know what I mean? You can earn them on the field. And I think it's starting to tear away at what college football, at least in my opinion, is all about. You want to see these teams get it on the field. And the SEC wants the strength of schedule component, which I understand. When you have 10 ranked teams in Sporting News post-spring top 20, basically our preseason top 25, you want to see that rewarded, that you have to play all those teams. So I understand the SEC's point in all this, but, man, I hope they can come to agreement. I don't know if you got this sense from Rich, and he didn't come out and say it, obviously, but I just get the sense we're going to be at 12 for a few years.
Yeah, absolutely could be. Bill Bender joining us right now on the Fan Upstate. Bill, when you talk about the ACC kickoff, obviously you mentioned it. Bill Belichick was the biggest story. When we, I think a couple of days ago, Diesel and I, maybe last week, talked about realistic expectations for North Carolina. Now that the media, the talking narrative dust, so to say, has settled, what would Bill Bender say his realistic expectations are for the Tar Heels in 2025?
Well, I want to see September. Imagine the hype if they can get through TCU and UCF, beat Richmond, beat Charlotte, be 4-0, and then go play Clemson. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
The hype around that game? It would be more than what we had with Dion a few years ago when they played USC, got off to that hot start. And we'll see. I think the back half of their schedule set up for some wins. I don't think they'll win them all, but I do think they'll win some games. If North Carolina wins 8 games, it's a success. Anything over 8, there's going to be a ton of hype around it. And, he kind of talked me into it last week, just being around him. I'm like, oh, yeah, this guy won this many games in New England. It's a big prove-it year for him, though, because if you look at those last couple of years at New England, and you guys know this too, once Brady left, it wasn't very good.
Bill, what do you make of the ACC seemingly leaning into pulling in ex-NFL coaches? You got Bill O'Brien up at BC. You got Frank Reich out at Stanford, Belichick at North Carolina. I look at the SEC as really being the hot place that young up-and-coming coaches want to go. Is that what the ACC is going to have to do to pull in some big, exciting names? And one thing I really noticed, and you mentioned the circus there, was that the big ballroom was only about half full for Dabo Swinney, and this is a guy that's won up-teen ACC titles and won national championships, but the room was only half full for him. It was loaded for Bill Belichick. Is there any validity to the idea that bringing in those ex-NFL coaches is maybe a way to get some buzz for programs in the ACC?
Well, we've seen it in the past, but I couldn't help but notice the same thing when you're walking down the hall and you see Andrew Luck walk by, Stanford GM, when you see Ron Rivera around the halls, O'Brien, Reich, Belichick. And as Brett Key said, the Georgia Tech coach, everybody has NFL assistants and Heisman Trophy winners on their staff. But I would counter with not as visible as Bill Belichick, Andrew Luck, Ron Rivera, and Bill O'Brien. And I do think it says something about the ACC that these coaches are willing to go there. And if we're headed towards this NFL light model, which you hear about all the time, is this the consequence of that? Is this why, if we're going to NFL light, is this what it means?
Yeah. Absolutely. Hey, Bill, from a national perspective, I want to know your thoughts on South Carolina and Shane Beamer. With us being in South Carolina, obviously our audience is split with Clemson in South Carolina. And, I believe, tell me if I'm wrong here, from a national perspective, South Carolina has always been a team that has a really good season, but then you kind of forget about them for a few seasons. In your mind, is Shane Beamer's squad in 2025 one that you'll forget about after a really impressive 2024?
No, because I think LaNorris Sellers will captivate our attention. I think Dylan Stewart will. Dylan Stewart will be on a lot. We're doing our All-American preseason All-American meeting next week or this week. I got to get my dates straight, but I'm sure he'll be talked about and on that team in some fashion. Can they take that next step? The game I remember most about South Carolina last year was the Alabama game. They showed they could compete in that environment, and it was early in the season. And then you go to the Texas A&M game where LaNorris Sellers literally took over the game. So I think those are a couple that stand out. And, if they can put together some consistency. Oh, I should mention the bowl game too. Of course, I remember the fourth quarter because I wanted to see, in honor of the passing of Hulk Hogan, I would have liked to see Shane Beamer and Brett Bielema get in the ring for a little bit.
At Bill Bender 92 is where you can find him, and go give him a follow on Twitter. Bill Bender of the Sporting News joins us here on the Fan Upstate. A lot of big-time names going to get their first full seasons of starting this year. Julian Sayin at Ohio State, Arch Manning, and, Bryce Underwood up there at Michigan, there's a pretty good chance he's going to win that starting job. How would you power rank those three in your outlook for their seasons this year?
Well, I mean, Arch, whatever we write, I don't know he can live up to expectations because the expectations are so absurd. But he's going to be fun to watch. I think Julian Sayin gets to throw to Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith. So but he has to fight off. I mean, this is a real training camp battle here with Lincoln Keen-Holtz and Tavion St. Clair. So that's something to keep in mind. Bryce Underwood, it can't be worse for Michigan than it was at quarterback last year. So he'll have bumps. I keep saying that I would compare him to Dylan Raiola last year at Nebraska. A lot of hype. He did well. Dylan had, some turnovers and some issues and a midseason lull, but there were certainly some bright spots for Nebraska last year, and you'll get even better out of Dylan Raiola this year, and I think that's what's going to happen with Bryce Underwood.
Bill, I don't know if you got a chance to catch up with him at ACC kickoff, but Diesel and I talked to Miller Moss the day that Louisville was in attendance, and we're very impressed by Miller and the way he handled himself. But when you look at this guy, this is a quarterback that played for Lincoln Riley at Southern Cal, now transferring to Louisville under a well-respected coach in Jeff Brom. What do you make of Jeff Brom? I feel like this is one of those conversations with a program in the ACC that has the potential to kind of captivate the conference. However, I don't know if Miller Moss is enough to do so. What are your thoughts on Louisville?
I talked to Miller Moss last year when he was hot at USC, and then it obviously went south, and obviously a new opportunity. The thing with Jeff Brom, though, and I've just learned to trust him with quarterbacks. Look what he did with Aiden O'Connell, Jake Plummer, Tyler Shook. And then look at their touchdown to interception ratio, their completion percentage, their passer rating. Jeff Brom is an underrated QB whisperer. There's no question. So if he can do that with Miller Moss, I mean, Louisville will be a tough out. You know what was weird? I looked last week, and I was incorrect in saying this. I thought Louisville finished in the top 25 in the final CFP rankings. It turns out they didn't. I was very wrong about that. But I think they can be that team that does that and win some games, especially if Miller Moss steps it up at quarterback for them.
Talking to Bill Bender of the Sporting News, you brought up wrestling a little bit earlier. Maybe to put this in wrestling parlance, Florida at the end of the season last year was kind of like that wrestler that, he's being pinned and they've counted 1, 2, and then that shoulder comes up to keep him in the fight. Is there any chance in your mind that Florida actually does get up off of the mat this year? I think there's a lot of hope for DJ Lagway, but you got just a murderer's row of football schedule at LSU, at Miami, Texas A&M, and that's 4 weeks in a row with a bye in between.
Yeah, I mean, the schedule's brutal. I don't know who makes their schedule. It's somebody that probably they should fire. No offense, but it's brutal. But then again, last year we didn't think that they would win a game in November. The DJ Lagway injury report stuff is concerning. There's no doubt, and we'll see if Billy Napier can keep that momentum. I'd be the first to admit that last year, there were a lot of Billy Napier fired columns running around, and for him to bounce back for that was amazing. But can they do it against that tough schedule? I believe, by our count, they're playing like 7 ranked teams, and that's really tough. And that's not knowing what Florida State has, and I think Florida State will be better. So we'll see if they can get through that season. But I've been saying all along, if Florida goes 9-3 against that schedule, I don't care who they win and lose to, they should be in the playoffs.
No doubt. It's a tough one for sure. Bill, Diesel and I, as a lot of other radio show hosts have to do, play both sides of the coin quite often. When you look to bring it back locally at Clemson and Dabo Swinney in 2025, who you heard from last week at the ACC kickoff, how would Bill Bender play both sides of the coin, and one being a legit national champion contender and the other being maybe we're overhyping this program a little too much?
Huge expectations. I think Dabo knows he's got something too, just the way he was acting. I saw the Brian Kelly bit he did in the press conference. That was funny. Not biting on the Death Valley thing. Bringing, at ACC kickoff, there's 3 guys that'll probably be first-round picks and that were there. Yeah. And, so, yes, they can win the ACC. And, yes, this is the first time I've felt like, okay, maybe they can do this since they had that team that lost in the playoff to Ohio State in 2020. Bringing it back, yeah, they got to prove it against SEC schools. You know, they lost 3 games to SEC teams last year. They got to beat LSU in that opener. They got to beat South Carolina. I think Clemson will be judged more on LSU and South Carolina than they will their entire ACC schedule. And that might sound how it sounds, but it's just that perception game that we like to play.
Bill, last year Cam Scatabo was a great example of a guy who kind of came out of nowhere and became a star on the national level. I know we won't know until we're 6 or 7 games into the season, but is there anybody that you kind of have your eye on, a preseason watch list for Bill Bender of a guy that could really break out this year?
Well, I mean, we talked about Lenora Sellers and Bryce Underwood. Those are 2 quarterbacks that absolutely could. I mean, I look at Mekhi Hughes at Oregon. Had a good year last year, but in the full spotlight, could be an awesome running back. Dylan Stewart. I don't know that the rest of the country really knows about him as much as, like, say they did when Jadeveon Clowney was there.
Yeah.
So if he goes off early, I think he could become a household name real quick. And no, it's not exactly a breakout guy, but super intrigued to see what Carson Beck does at Miami in that new fit. And he was very popular on day 1 at ACC kickoff.
Bill, last question for you. Diesel and I do a segment during football season called Welfare Check. We start it tomorrow. We check to see who's home, who's been fired, who hasn't been fired, the hottest seats of coaches in college football. As we are near a month away, Bill Bender's hottest seat in college football would be who?
Probably Luke Fickell. And in one of them, Hugh Freeze, Luke Fickell, Brent Venables. You pick one of those 3. Wisconsin's schedule is brutal too. If Florida's as bad, Wisconsin's just as bad. Just look at their November. It's, I think, Ohio State, Oregon, Michigan, Iowa. That's tough. And I mentioned Brent Venables. I mean, this is a big year for them because Texas has kind of stolen their thunder in the SEC and been the more dominant team the last couple of years. So we'll see what happens there. I know Oklahoma did beat them 2 years ago, but still, you know, Texas back-to-back playoff appearances. And Hugh Freeze. I mean, it's a big year at Auburn with Jackson Arnold. The receivers they have, some serious talent on the defensive side with Keldrick Falk, but they got to win some football games down there on the Plains.
Bill, what fan base claps back at you the hardest when you don't say nice things about them?
You know, I mean, I've been hit in the past by fan base. The ones that popped in my head immediately were Tennessee and Penn State. So they come at me. I mean, I'm obviously in Columbus, and I've got a little bit of a reputation of telling it like it is here. So but that's paid off. You know, if you're honest about your fan base and honest about your football team, that's how you should do this job.
Bill, great stuff as always. We appreciate your time. Any opportunity we get to have you on, and we'll do it again soon.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for having me on. Call anytime, guys. I'll talk to you then.
Thanks, Bill.
Bender, Sporting News, fantastic information, fantastic guest. As always, Diesel, we react to that. We continue the conversation. I'll tell you what, if Bill Bender doesn't get you fired up, he knows it. He knows it. He knows the sport as well as anybody. Luke Fickell as his hottest seat in 2025. That's interesting. Obviously, we all thought Hugh Freeze, right, was going to be his answer, and he did throw that in there. But Luke Fickell, interesting.
Yeah, the Big Ten's got a lot of coaches that came out of G5 and FCS with their hair on fire that have kind of not done all that much. Remember old PJ Fleck rowed the boat?
Yeah.
What's he doing up in Minnesota right now?
Yeah.
Not a lot.
Well, not Luke, but Luka is the topic of conversation right now. My goodness, have you seen this guy? Have you seen a side-by-side of him just a few months ago in that L.A. po' boy uniform that he had on? He looked like a different man. All of a sudden, he's on the cover of a fitness magazine. If you hadn't seen it, we'll discuss it. React. Luka shredded. Could that change Luka's future? Or is he just showing the Mavs who he could have been in Dallas? That's next. Tolos, have you seen the side-by-side picture of Luka Doncic? If you haven't, you can see it. I retweeted it at @TheColeBryson on Twitter, on X. Diesel, you've seen the picture, right?
Yeah. Homeboy is like he's shredded.
He looks like a completely different person. And look, I don't know what Luka Doncic has done in, let's see, May, June, July, August, 3 months. I don't know exactly what regimen Luka Doncic has done in 3 months, Diesel. But I'll tell you what. A lot of people try to lose weight their entire life. A lot of people try to go on these these health journeys, and Luka Doncic has shown us that weight loss in 3 months pretty possible if you lift some weights, if you get in the gym, if you eat right. This guy looks like a different person. I don't know what that will translate to on the court, but I will tell you, Diesel, the biggest gripe with Luka has always been his defense isn't up to par because of what? He's fat. So now I think it's great that Luka is in shape and he looks fantastic. The only problem is now he's going to have no excuse not to play defense.
Well, you know what Luka Doncic doesn't have to do? He didn't have to go work an 8-hour-a-day job. He has all day, every day to train and to get into shape. It begs the question, what was his excuse before? Like, Are you not going to the gym? Do you go home and ride horses for 3 months and then you show up out of shape again? Look, have you ever seen these actors that have crazy body transformations from one movie to the next? I mean, it's nuts when you see Christian Bale when he's Batman. He's all like yoked up, and then he did that movie where he was like a cancer patient. I think it was called The Mechanic, or The Machinist, where he was about as big around as this water bottle right here. And they have these crazy transformations because they have live-in chefs who cook them exactly what they need to eat every single meal. They present it to them on time, every time. And their job is to eat that meal and go right back to the gym and go right back to working out. It's impressive. It's mind-blowing that a guy can do that, but it just really just does go back to that question of why did it take you so long, man?
Well, I'll tell you this. I've heard Luka talk about getting in shape, and I also do believe that there's probably been influence. Now, I don't know who that influence has been. I don't know if LeBron James has sat down with Luka and said, look, you're a Laker. It means more to wear that Lakers jersey. And I've been able to do this as long as I have because I've taken care of my body. LeBron James has never looked fat. He's never looked chubby like Luka did. So whatever, to answer your question, Diesel, for whatever reason in Dallas, and I know Dallas has a lot of good food out there, a lot of good barbecue, right? A lot of good mac and cheese. Maybe LA just doesn't have that. I'm kidding. But in all seriousness, something to do with where Luka is now has allowed him to have this transformation. And again, in 3 months, he looks amazing. I just didn't think in 3 months something like that was possible. I am glad for it. I'm happy that he does look like this because I'll tell you this. We've always said it. He has the opportunity, Luka does, to be one of the best players on planet Earth, if not the best player on planet Earth. And you can't be that best player if you don't discipline yourself with your body and play defense. And now, man, I'm not saying the Lakers are going to go win it all this year. I'm just saying the fact that Luka is in shape, I think that does make things a lot more intriguing.
Yeah, there's a great quote from Jerry Moore, head coach at App State, who used to say, what are you willing to give up to be great? And then what are you really willing to give up to go be great? And Luka wasn't willing to give up the barbecue in Texas, but now I guess he has. When we come back, Cole, today is a big day. I don't know if you realize that it is National Chicken Wing Day, and nothing gets Tolos talking
Speaking of
quite
Luka,
like food right here on the Fan Upstate. So during the break, Tolos, text in 844-FAN-PHONE, 844-326-3663. Power rank 1, 2, 3, your top 3 chicken wing flavors. Can be sauce, can be dry rub, whatever you want it to be. Text them in, and we'll debate it next. Tommy Likey, Tommy Want Wingy. We as Americans have a massive obsession with chicken wings, Cole, to the point where in the Super Bowl alone last year, Americans consumed 1.5 billion chicken wings.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of chicken wings. That means a lot of chickens had to meet their end for us to scratch that itch that takes around 350, 365 million chicken wings or chickens to create that many wings, because each bird has 4 pieces of wings. For as we know them, put them on the plate, chicken wings, 4 per bird, because you got the drum and you got the flat. So that's a lot of chicken wings, Cole. We as Americans cannot get enough of them. And today is National Chicken Wing Day. I don't know how many Tolos plan to celebrate today, but this is one of those great holidays that I think we should all be able to get behind and go enjoy some chicken wings today.
If it's a holiday, why are we not off of work? We should take National Chicken Wing Day off. I do not stand for this working on National Chicken Day bullcrap. It's ridiculous.
They got to figure out how to make chicken and chicken wings more of a breakfast item. Like, I know there's like country fried chicken, there's chicken biscuits that you can get for breakfast. But chicken is primarily a lunch and dinner kind of meal. We got to figure out a way to get more chicken and chicken wings into breakfast.
You know, I don't know this, but if you had the ability to look back on my entire life, especially last, let's say, 15 years, and say, what food have you consumed more than any other food? I, off the cuff, would say chicken wings are number 1.
Yeah.
Probably like pizza would be up there, right?
Pizza's my one.
I don't eat pizza a ton. I really don't. I think I eat chicken wings on average probably twice a week. Maybe
Really?
3, yeah.
Even now when you're being health conscious.
Yeah,
you're trying to get svelte and cut up like Luca.
But you know, I can still eat chicken wings, and as long as you don't load them down with the wrong sauce, right? I mean, the sauces are what get you. But
well, that's the important part of a
that's
chicken
the
wing.
important part. It is. Yeah.
Nobody eats plain chicken wings.
I do sometimes.
What?
Because listen, here's why. I'm
What?
trying to eat. Yeah.
What flavor? Skin.
Naked. Because I have lost weight. I'm trying to lose weight.
Yeah.
But my urge of eating chicken wings does not go away. So, okay, how can I still eat chicken wings, but how can I eat healthy? I go to wherever and order, let's say, 8 or 10 chicken wings and just don't get any sauce. It's pretty healthy.
I have 2
Healthier than the alternative.
major hot takes when it comes to chicken wings. Number 1, I think buffalo sauce, like a buffalo chicken wing, awful. I don't like them. I've never
That is a terrible
I've never
take.
ordered buffalo
That's
sauce on a chicken wing. I don't like it because it's pure vinegar. Number 2, and I won't give the specifics, I think the best chicken wings in Greenville County come from a restaurant that's not known for chicken wings. It's a pizza restaurant. The best chicken wings in Greenville County come from a pizza joint.
Well, sometimes the pizza
They go
places
well
do
together.
wings. Yeah, they do.
They go well together.
I get pizza and wings a lot together. I will say, though, I am, your first hot take is pretty hot. It's pretty bad. I don't hate the second one. You get pizza and wings together. That's pretty good. Your normal box chain pizza place, their wings are usually okay. But I will tell you, for somebody that eats a lot of chicken wings, there is nothing more of a disgrace than ordering boneless wings. Because
Those are nuggets.
those aren't wings. You ever seen a chicken with a boneless wing, Diesel?
No.
Because they don't have them.
No.
It doesn't happen. I don't want to. The boneless wing stuff, we've got to ban that.
So obviously, you being a country music fan, I know
What's
you
the
know the song "I've Been Everywhere," right? I've been everywhere, man. I've been
Yeah.
everywhere. You know that song.
Yeah.
So are you like the
that
the
Willie?
chicken wing aficionado? No, didn't Johnny Cash sing that song?
Might have been.
I don't know. I know the song.
Yeah.
So do you try everything? Have you in your lifetime? Would you say you've tried every sauce there is?
Not every,
just about.
But I do eat a lot. I mean, like, I'm not picky at all, as you can tell by looking at me. So, I'll try sauces. I'll tell you this. I like hot, unlike you. There's one
I
establishment.
didn't say I don't like hot. I just don't like buffalo.
Okay, so you want your hot to be
I don't dislike.
non-buffalo.
I don't dislike buffalo sauce because it's hot. I dislike buffalo sauce because it's like all vinegar.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I don't like about it.
I didn't know it had vinegar in it. I love buffalo. I love hot. I just don't want to be like miserably bleeding from eating chicken wings, right? I want it to be a moderate hot. So I don't want too hot. I don't want boneless. I'm a big drum guy over flats. I think we've talked about that before. I love drums. Drums are hard to beat.
Yeah, you can't beat it.
But those are my basics when it comes to wings.
Buffalo sauce is a combination of hot sauce, butter, and vinegar with garlic powder, Worcestershire sauce, and other spices. So if it's too vinegar forward, I'm not
So
down with
good.
that. I'm not down with that. So Tolos, 844 fan phone. What are your power ranked top 3 favorite chicken wing
What was your name
flavors? Can be a sauce, can be a dry rub, however you want to put them together. Put them together. I'm going to start here, Cole, with my medal stand, and you tell me if you would reject these and ever order them. Number 1, easy, spicy Thai chili. I like going spicy Thai chili. The spicier, the better.
I don't love that.
You don't like Thai chili?
I don't love it.
It's got the sweet and the spicy together.
I'll eat it. I just don't love it. So
Okay.
I don't hate it, but it wouldn't be my number 1.
Garlic parm is my number
Right,
2.
what's your name?
Another classic. You can't go wrong with a garlic parm. And the number 3 on my list, a mango habanero. You got to have something with some heat to it, a little spice.
Yeah, again on the garlic parm, don't love it, don't hate it. Mango habanero, I hadn't had it in a long time. That might be the one. That might be the one I hadn't had in a long time, and I'm sitting here trying to think, what does mango habanero taste like? What does it taste like?
It's habanero,
So
but
it's
it's
pretty
like
hot?
it's got a little citrus to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't hate that. You know, I'm pretty basic. I love anything with like honey in it. So I'm some kind of barbecue honey mustard type is one. Like if you can mix barbecue diesel and mix the honey mustard, sign me up. That's my ideal chicken wing. The sweetness, the tanginess of the honey mustard. How do you leave lemon pepper off of your list? That's a travesty. What does Dewey say all the time? That's a travesty.
You should be fired.
You should be fired. It is a travesty that you've left lemon pepper off of yours.
Lemon pepper's good.
Oh, so
I don't
good.
like it, but lemon pepper is like it's like the white milk of sauces. Like it's just okay, right? If it's there, I'm gonna eat it.
So good.
I'm gonna chow down on some lemon pepper wings. But if I'm somewhere that's got a good list of options, I'm not going lemon pepper with my limited number of choices.
I love it. And then I'll go Buffalo 3. I love my Buffalo. I love the Buffalo. The Buffalo's just got that. It's got that perfect taste. I don't know what it is. It's just a perfect taste of a wing. It's not too hot, not too mild.
I don't like a wing that's super saucy. I
love saucy.
I don't want a sloppy wet wing.
I do. I want it to be covered head to toe.
More often than not, I actually like to dry rub wings a lot more than I like saucy wing.
There is there are a few dry rubs that I would prefer over wet rubs. It's just, like lemon pepper is more. You would consider that more dry rub, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And so I would agree with you there. But man, you get that messy honey barbecue.
I don't want it all over my face.
I do.
See, it gets all.
I
I got this thick mustache, and you
just
before
pour it on.
you know when you were still a man, you had the thick mustache. It
I didn't
got
shake-
all over.
No,
it.
I didn't touch the mustache.
You didn't touch it? I thought it was thicker than that.
No, I didn't touch the mustache.
Oh, what about when you had a little beard here?
Yeah, I
you
had
get
to.
stuck in that stuff too?
Yeah, I just love it.
It just gets all over the face.
It just makes it better. Makes the experience. If you're not messy when eating chicken wings, you're not doing it right.
Well, that's a take right there in and of itself. 844 fan phone, Tolos. One texter gets in and says lemon pepper, garlic parm, and mango habanero. This comes from Brad and Inman. See, Brad, you're a man of my own taste. 2 out of 3.
I need to have the mango. I just can't. I got to refresh my mind on what it tastes like.
I want a little bit of heat to challenge me every now and again. I don't want it to be so hot that I don't enjoy eating the chicken wings.
Yeah.
Like that's the cutoff for me. If I can't enjoy it, like if that hot doesn't hit you in the face and then go away in like a minute or so that I can so that I want to eat the next wing, there's no point right there. There's no enjoyment in doing that.
RJ said he agreed with us having to work on National Chicken Wing Day. He said it should be frowned upon.
Yeah.
Tolo
Half day
Steve,
at least, right?
Yeah, for sure. Tolo Steve did say, I'm with Cole, the hotter the wings, the better. JD says, if you've never had teriyaki and hot sauce mixed, then you're missing out. I'm not a big teriyaki guy. Are you?
It's okay. It's
okay.
just it's builder basic.
See, I think teriyaki is kind of a little overused.
I'd rather have teriyaki chicken from the Chinese restaurant than I would on
me
a
too,
chicken
me too.
wing. It just feels like a waste.
What's your name?
It just feels like a waste. Tolo Steve says hot This is number 1, Red Hot and Blue. What is Red Hot and like blue cheese, I guess?
Oh, God.
And Wild West.
You just ruined the whole conversation with blue cheese. Are you
What's
kidding me?
Wild West? Is it like a barbecue sauce?
What? Don't dip anything in blue cheese, guys, ladies.
It's ranch.
Oh,
all the
my
way.
God.
All the
Wait,
way.
You know what? Blue cheese is some rotten, moldy. I mean, what do we do?
Clemson is famous for their blue cheese, though.
Ugh, that's terrible.
Let's see. Texter says, my top is honestly just a plain Public wing? What's a Public wing?
Publix. I bet he
Okay.
means Publix.
I'll have to agree with Diesel with the garlic parm, number 2. And then, honestly, anything on the sweeter side, number 3, that comes from Corn Chip.
Yeah.
They sell wings at Publix?
Yeah,
Why-
but they're
why
not
do
as
we
good
keep-
as they're not as good as Ingles though.
Why do we keep giving you, if we can get Ingles too, why do we keep giving you the stuff that you don't like? What if we just gave you some wings?
Oh, I love wings.
Yeah.
And they have great wings on the wing bar, the Ingles Markets. Try them tonight.
John Dog says lemon pepper garlic parm and Cavender's Greek dry rub. That
is that?
sounds awesome.
What is that?
A Greek seasoning. Greek is, I mean, I guess you could say it's kind of like a ranch, but it's a little more,
That don't
it's a little
sound
more
good.
veggie forward than mayonnaise
I don't
forward.
want anything veggie forward on wings. Cavender's Greek, health conscious.
It's like I'm not pretending like I'm
No.
eating something healthy
Come
here.
on. Hot yaki. Tell me what that is.
Ooh, hot teriyaki.
Oh, that's what JD
Hot
was
teriyaki,
talking about,
yeah.
I think.
Half buffalo, half teriyaki, cuts through the vinegar.
You might
he
like that,
says.
Diesel. You might like that.
Maybe. I might be onto something. You might be onto something there. Let's see. Texter says Terry Hot, mango habanero, garlic parmesan. And this is JD following up, says blue cheese over ranch. Texter says I like lemon pepper, buffalo, and Carolina Reaper. That comes from John in Greenville. John, are you the guy that grows the Carolina Reapers here in the upstate?
Carolina Reaper is one of those, like, as soon as you say it, hear that word, you just think, man, as long as there's a restroom nearby, you know?
Yeah.
That's going to burn.
Yeah, I don't
Going
want to
in and
fight
out.
it.
Going in and out.
I don't want to feel
Yeah.
like I'm, arm wrestling a lightning bolt if I'm trying
Twice.
to eat wings.
Twice. That's tough.
I had the first time I tried Da Bomb hot sauce from that Hot One TV show, I vomited over the fence. Like it just filled
that
my
bad?
gut with this battery acid vinegar.
So do you think
nastiness.
you could do the wall challenge at Wings Etc. in Bowling Springs? It's wall sauce. You get your picture on the wall on a T-shirt, and it's 16 wall wings with no ranch, no nothing. You get water, but I did it, and I'm on
Really?
the wall. But I love hot, and let me tell you, Diesel, it is hot. I mean, real hot. It was so hot. I asked for ranch, couldn't have that. I would have done blue cheese, anything to cool it off, right? You know what I did? The way I did it, I did the challenge successfully, but I used a fork and I took the meat off every bone
Oh,
because it wasn't as bad on your lips. When it gets on your lips,
smart.
man,
That's cheating.
Ooh.
That might be cheating,
well,
but I like it.
I mean,
I like
sometimes
it.
you got to cheat in life.
John from Greenville, who texted in about the Carolina Reaper, is on the line. John in Greenville, what's up?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, man.
This is like what I do to kind of subside the hotness. Sometimes I'll get baby oil and I just put that.
Yeah,
okay.
that's the same guy from yesterday, I believe.
Yep.
And I recognize his name, so I'll block that number. Let's go to Dewey.
Let's go to Dewey. Dewey, what's up?
Yes, I like wings. I like garlic parm and honey barbecue, and then you take wings and you put buffalo sauce on them, and then you drench them in mayonnaise,
Oh God!
and then you bake them, and then you eat them like that.
Dewey, we
That's
should dump
like
that call
yummy.
just for a terrible take. That's mayonnaise. What are we doing here?
Well, you like plain wings, and plain wings are just and it's just
Well, ranch dressing
you
is
put
partly mayonnaise, isn't it?
mayonnaise and ranch and buffalo sauce, and then you just bake them in the oven.
Baked wings. Get out.
and
We
then-
should drop the call right now
Yeah.
for you calling in and saying
But
baked
then-
wings,
That's
Dewey.
rough. That is rough.
But then you follow it with beer, and you don't even taste the mayonnaise no more.
Well, the alcohol does break down the capsaicin on your tongue. So water doesn't help.
what?
Water, the capsaicin.
Okay, gotcha.
Water doesn't help.
No, it
But
doesn't.
beer does. Thank you, Dewey. for
Milk
the phone
helps
call.
though, right?
But
Yes.
if you don't like that teriyaki wings, that's probably the best.
There you go. Thanks,
Thanks,
Dewey.
Dewey. Real enlightening
Oh.
there.
Phone call up next is Tom in Somerville.
I don't know what kind of wings Dewey be eating, but I don't want nothing nothing to do with those wings.
Mayonnaise wings?
No, I'm out on the mayonnaise wings.
That's like Alabama white sauce is mostly mayonnaise. You ever try Alabama white sauce?
Well, here's the thing. I have before, and it was at a place in Columbia. And when you talk wings, there's so many different types of categories when it comes to wings, because I don't think it's fair to rate smoked wings and fried wings in the same category.
That's fair.
It's also not fair to rate breaded and non-breaded wings in the same category, because y'all just mentioned somebody texted in about Publix. Well, we all know Publix has great fried chicken, but their wings are not anywhere near as good as their fried chicken. And, you know, like y'all mentioned, Ingles has a lot better wings than Publix.
There you go.
Yes, they do.
There you
Much
go.
better.
There you go,
And
Tom.
Here's the thing. And, Cole, you said you're trying to eat healthier, and sometimes you want to get some wings. Well, if you want to eat healthy and get wings, just go get you some cauliflower wings, and you win both ways. I'm just kidding. They're the worst things ever made. But the best flavor, hands down, is spicy teriyaki.
Ooh.
It's not even close. Spicy teriyaki or spicy honey mustard. There's only a select few places that have spicy honey mustard, but if they have it, it is always the best.
Tom, what are you doing calling into our show? You need to be opening a wing restaurant because you know everything there is to know about wings.
Tom's Wings in Somerville.
I eat wings every single Saturday during football season. It's the only thing you eat during football season in my house is wings, okay? We try every wing place from here to Alaska, and I'm telling you, when you get good wings, it's one of the best things a person can eat. And when they're bad, it makes you never want to eat them again until next Saturday. I eat wings every Saturday during football season.
Are you going to eat wings Thursday night for the NFL Hall of Fame game, Tom?
Oh, you bet. You bet. There's a place down here in Somerville. I already called him and said, hey, I want to pick up some wings on Thursday, and I'm going to go by there after work and pick them up so I can watch the Hall of Fame game. Yeah, I mean, I've been waiting all summer to go by, pick up my wings, go home, and watch the Hall of Fame game.
I can't
Yeah, but
wait.
have you been waiting all summer if you get them like constantly, Tom?
Well, that's the thing. I really don't eat wings during, non-football season.
Oh,
so he's
I'll get 'em
deprived.
here and there.
He's deprived.
Wing deprived.
Yeah.
But, I save that special moment
Yeah.
for those, 15 sacred Saturdays we get.
Thanks, Tom.
Go Gamecock!
God, that's great. JD was asking on the text line if we can agree that boneless wings aren't wings.
That's correct.
Yeah, we did highlight that. We all agree with that. Yeah.
People that eat boneless wings are the same people that eat pizza with a knife and a fork.
Yeah. Will G on the Hub City Spartan Burgers text line says lemon pepper, buffalo or Buff AQ classic buffalo ranch. What is this all one? Lemon pepper, Buff AQ classic buffalo ranch over blue cheese. That comes from Will G.
Punctuation is your friend, Will.
Tolo Steve says, hey, Diesel, Wild West is made up of chili sauce, molasses, Worcestershire sauce, Worcestershire sauce, mustard, ginger, and garlic. That comes from Tolo Steve. Sounds pretty good, right?
Sounds good. Yeah. Try it.
Let's see. Lefty Tiger gets in and says, flats are king. Flavors, Tex-Mex, mild.
Whoa.
Jalapeno, yeah.
Flats over drums?
Yeah. There's a lot of people in the world
What?
that think that. There really are.
Flats are a pain in the butt.
Lefty also says jalapeno, cheddar, regular old buffalo. I'm with you there.
Get out of here with the buffalo sauce.
I think the Buffalo's made it a lot though, Diesel. We're gonna get you a Team Buffalo.
Yeah,
We're gonna get you back on it.
Simple folks, man.
It's so good though.
Simple folks.
It's so good. The more buffalo, you want more buffalo sauce than you have wing. That's the key. And prefer, but you know what? Like I say, drums over flats. I still like flats. I'm not one of those that ask for like all drums. There are those people out there too.
No, I don't get down with that. I like them both, but I do prefer the drums.
Yeah, just more meat.
Yeah.
I don't understand what the reasoning is on the flats. You're eating one with less meat. So
do you eat the flat one-handed or do you
No.
break the bones apart?
No, I think I eat them with two hands. I don't do that little trick, where you stick it in your mouth and I don't do that.
Yeah, tell us more about that trick.
No, I don't do that. you see those videos where people have these little tricks with little flats, right? And they just one swipe and the meat's gone.
Can you show us that one more time?
Nope, I'm not doing it. Not doing it.
Almost had him.
Not doing it. Let's see. JD asked Tom, "Do you have any of those wild techniques to eat?" Well, see, he's that's what I'm talking about. Those wild hacks that eat wings in one swipe. He says JD bets that y'all don't eat them right. I don't know that there's a right or wrong way.
I think JD's going to have to post video of the right way to eat a flat wing.
Stephen Webb on Facebook says, "What the cluck flavor from Flavor Shack is where it's at, then garlic parm. Also give me a drum or a flat, but I will eat either." Yeah.
Equal opportunity.
Equal. I like it. Tolos, if we missed any of your texts,
wow.
Hub City Spartan Burgers.
Bold take here. Texter says breaded wings are fried chicken, not wings.
See, I think that texter from the 828 is 110% correct. You don't bread a chicken wing because then it becomes fried chicken.
They're delicious.
That's a fried chicken. That is not a wing. You texter, whoever that is, I 100% agree with you. You don't bread wings.
How come when you go to any restaurant that sells fried chicken and you get a wing, it's the flat and the drum connected. Yet when we disconnect them, we still call it a wing. There should be it's like a half wing.
Yeah,
it's not a whole wing. It's a half wing.
And by the way, back to Tom's point, to end the wing conversation, Diesel, I am going to tell you, smoked wings are king.
Oh, by far.
I mean
good.
King.
They're so good. The meat's so tender.
So good. The flavor, right?
Yeah.
Smoked, over fried, but I'll still eat fried. But, man, if you have the smoked ones, it just hits different. Hits a little bit different. Hunter Renfrow is still hitting different in his old age, right? That's what we're going to call him now, old, even though he's not really old. But audio from Hunter Renfrow yesterday. And let's look at that wide receiver room for the Carolina Panthers, Diesel. Is it too deep for Hunter Renfrow to have an impact? That's next. Well, Hunter Renfrow has had a pretty good training camp. However, there is a little bit of caution when you hear what Hunter Renfrow had to say. Former Clemson Tiger, as we all know. And if you are a Clemson fan, want to hear from you on your thoughts on Hunter Renfrow. The old guy, the small guy, the vet, right, that made his way back to football, joining the Carolina Panthers. And in what he calls a very deep wide receiver room. We'll give you our thoughts on if this room is too deep for the former Clemson Tiger, but here's what he had to say at training camp.
We have a bunch of different personalities, a bunch of different ages, but amazing. I think we have a really good group. I think we have a really talented group. It's the deepest I've ever been around. We have 7 or 8 guys that comfortably go out there and play, and then a lot of young guys that are proving they can. And so, like I was talking about Clemson, it just pushes you. It pushes you every day. I think, the Bible talks about iron sharpening iron, iron sharpening iron, and that's what it is. And hopefully we can do that every day, and then the other people we have out there can see that and be inspired from that, go out there and make every day the best we can.
So Hunter Renfrow says, Diesel, that this is the deepest wide receiver group that he has ever been a part of. I'm interested to hear what the Tolos think on this as well. But, Diesel, you could take that both ways. You could think, okay, that's really a good thing, because that's really a good thing. The Panthers need depth at wide receiver. They need playmakers around Bryce Young. But then the flip side of the coin is you could take a look at it if you're a Clemson fan or a fan of Hunter Renfrow and think, maybe that's not a good thing, because Hunter Renfrow has a long way to go until he might actually see the field.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good thing that he's shouting out the amount of talent that he thinks the Carolina Panthers have. How does it translate? Don't know yet. We'll have to wait and see. How many times have we talked about Xavier Legette not becoming this number one receiver in his first year in the NFL? And, is it really shocking that he didn't know? Because it takes time to work your way up into your own. But I guess it's a good thing when you look at how thin the wide receiver position has been for Carolina over the past couple of years.
Yeah, so here's what they have. We all know the Carolina Panthers drafted Tet McMillan out of Arizona. You also throw in Jalen Coker, Diesel, who's the projected guy behind Tet McMillan. And we talked to David Newton and several other people who have really been high on this guy, Jalen Coker, and said, watch out, write his name down, remember his name, because there's a lot of promise, a lot of potential around Jalen Coker, right? A young player, a lot of youth in this wide receiver room. Jimmy Horn Jr., right? Kobe Hudson, we'll see if he makes the roster or not. And then you throw in Adam Thielen, Hunter Renfrow. You throw in guys like Xavier Legette that you mentioned. Don't forget David Moore, TJ Luther. You've got guys like Jacoby George and Jaheim Reed who will see, Jasim Reed, who will see if they make the cut or not. But you look at Tet McMillan, Thielen, Legette, Jalen Coker, Hunter Renfrow, and David Moore. That's 6 guys right there that the Panthers probably don't all expect to be competing for that 1, 2, 3 spot. However, Diesel, those are 6 guys the Panthers desperately need to stay healthy in 2025.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta also think about building up depth, right? So that if one of those guys goes down, whether it's Adam Thielen, Tet, or XL, you can bring one of these guys who can step right in seamlessly out of the practice squad and keep you running at a high level.
I'll tell you what's interesting, though. When you look at this team in 2025 with Bryce Young and the weapons that he now has, you could probably say that the most dangerous wide receiver group he's had, and use the word dangerous kind of loosely, right? Because it's not like he's got Tyreek Hill on one side and Devontae Adams on the other. But I do think it's the most dangerous room that he's had. You also look at what's around them. So we know Bryce Young improved last year in 2024 down the stretch. Chuba Hubbard, there's still some question marks there, right, in terms of what the running back position will look like. Rico Dowdle, interesting sign for the Carolina Panthers in terms of their running back room. They have Trevor Etienne, Rasheem Blackshear. They have him as well. But I just think overall, when you look at the offense from an offensive standpoint, I think they have more flexibility. What do I mean? What did we hear Diesel when Dave Canales took the job? We heard about his offense, how he was able to help Baker Mayfield, right, in Tampa, how he was able to take the offense to the next level. Well, the reality of it is, it doesn't matter how good of a coach you are, how great offensive philosophy you may have, you got to have weapons. And Dave Canales, for the criticism that he got in his first couple of years, to be fair, he just hadn't had much to work with. He's still trying to, think about it, develop Bryce Young, create a culture in Carolina, in Charlotte, develop the other guys that are around Bryce Young, and figure out what their offensive identity has to be. We are very quick to criticize the likes of Dave Canales, but man, I think this, you might disagree, but I believe this should be treated more like Canales' first season. Even though it's not his first season, you look at he finally has some pieces. I think this year, Diesel, in 2025, we as fans, we as media should treat the 2025 season as, okay, now we can start to judge Dave Canales. I don't think prior judgment was fair on our part.
Yeah, and you can't necessarily, if Dave Canales, let's say he goes out and achieves the same thing that they did last year. Would they win 4 games, 5 games?
Yeah.
4, I think it was 4. If he goes out and does that again, or if he doesn't have this leap from 4 to like 8 or 9, we can't necessarily hold that against him, because there's a lot of head coaches, some of them who are pretty good, who had a good first year and then fell off in their second year, or failed to make this big time jump. I mean, you don't want to judge him on the Sean McVay standard, who jumped from 4 wins to 11 wins in his first year to his second year. You can't judge him on that. There have been other head coaches that have, like I said, won a good number of games, and then they backslide just a little bit in their second year. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're a bad head coach, and that, this time next year we're talking about another new head coach in Carolina. And I know that Dave Tepper, I think Dave Tepper knows he has to be patient with it this time around.
Yeah, and Joey on the text line, on the Hub City Spartanburgers text line, said his first couple of years, you mean last year and this year, right? Couple, meaning including 2025. I said that if I said that wrong, last year was his first year. I don't think it was fair to judge him on last year, is what I meant, Joey. I just think that when you look at what he had in his first season, the things I just listed, it just wasn't a year where you could say, okay, well, that was Dave Canales' fault. So now it's a second season. Yeah, you can say, now that he has the guys around him, it is fair to judge him. I would agree with that, but I just don't know ultimately that we give coaches a long enough time period with the right man, the right ownership group, which I think Dave Canales has, by the way. I think Dan Morgan's the best thing that could have happened to Dave Canales. Now that Dan and Dave are together, have a little bit of an identity, let's see how this thing plays out. On the text line, let's see. Texter says, this is JD. I really hope Hunter makes the roster and performs well. I'm thinking he can be Adam Thielen's replacement when Thielen retires after this year. You'd hope so.
Could be.
How old's? Let me see how old Renfro is.
A good sticky-handed slot receiver who's not afraid to take a hit.
29, Diesel. He's 29 years old. So you look at you talk about his sticky hands. His route running is phenomenal. I mean, when you hear people talk about what he can still do, that's what they talk about, is the way that he can run routes. So Adam Thielen's 34. Hunter Renfro's 5 years behind him. And we know that the prime of a wide receiver, Diesel, doesn't just expand much into the 30s. However, Adam Thielen is still making millions of dollars at 34 years old.
Well, hopefully you don't have to use Hunter Renfro a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now if he's still in this roster.
Sure.
You don't have to use him in the same way that you had to use Adam Thielen last year, when Adam Thielen was basically the only receiver that you had to throw it to that had sure hands. I mean, everybody knew that the ball was going to Adam Thielen, but if you can bring Ted McMillan along to be what you hope that he can be, a true number one, you got Excel there as a really good number 2. Now you don't have to throw it to Hunter Renfro all that often. You get to use him strategically.
Well, I'll say this, though. One final thought on Renfrow. I think he ended up – Diesel, I think Renfrow ends up making the roster. However, what are you going to have, 6? You could go from 12 to 6, right? You're going to have 6 wide receivers make the final cut. And this wide receiver room, according to a lot of outlets, including SB Nation, is one of the league's toughest position battles, talking about the strong competition among rookies and vets. So I don't think it's going to happen, but the reality is Hunter Renfrow right now is kind of like on that cut line. If you're looking at it from a golf standpoint, you're not going to cut Ted McMillan, obviously. It's the first-round pick. You're not going to cut Xavier Legette. You've got Thielen. You're not going to cut Jalen Coker, who's had a breakout candidate, young player, right? Jimmy Horn Jr., undrafted free agent, made a lot of waves in OTAs. We talked about it a lot. So Hunter Renfrow's like 6 right now. You look at David Moore, TJ Luther. Those are fringe players. So I think ultimately Hunter Renfrow makes the roster, but Carolina Diesel may decide to keep up to 7 receivers just as an extra bubble player, like of David Moore or a Luther, just to have that depth, because there is some – it's a logjam right now. It's almost exactly like looking at golf standings, because Hunter Renfrow right now, I think he's had a good enough training camp to elevate himself, but it's not a foregone conclusion that Hunter Renfrow is going to make the roster.
I like that we have a true battle here, though. I mean, I like that there's not incumbent wide receivers and then there are guys who are solidified in their position. Everybody's going to have to work their ass off in this offseason to make this team. And as you said, there are a handful that are not ultimately going to get cut, but they're competing for the number 1 spot. I mean, I guarantee you Xavier Legette is not sitting back saying, oh, isn't it great that I can just settle into the number 2 wide receiver role? No. He's going to push Tet. Tet's going to push him, and that's ultimately going to make both of them better and make this receiving core more dangerous on a play-in and play-out basis.
Sorry, real quick. I was just going to get to RJ's text, Diesel. Yeah. He said, I think Renfrow could be very helpful as a slot receiver for Bryce Young. He thrived in a similar role at Clemson, and I would agree with that. I think for Bryce Young's development, having that kind of sure-handed guy like Thielen, like Renfrow, is big, but are you going to keep 2 of those guys? Are you going to keep Thielen? We talk about Thielen and Renfrow being so similar. Do the Panthers say, hey, let's keep 2 guys that are very similar, or do we go younger? It's going to be interesting.
When we come back, Cole, let's take our whip around the sports world, see if we can catch some rumors and murmurs of what's going on out there. Up next, our Daily Wires. So much happening in the sports world. Cole, I say that with air quotes. So much happening in the sports world. You and I were remarking it is pretty dry out there. Seems like there's not a ton of sports reporting going on, but there is something. We call them our daily wires. Here's the buzz happening around the sports world. The Atlanta Braves actually got a win, Cole.
Whoa.
Can you believe it? They beat the Kansas City Royals 10-7 last night.
I thought positive yesterday afternoon, and that's why.
Yeah, you pray on it. You pray for the
I
Braves
just
to win.
had positive thoughts. That's how they won.
We'll get our first look at the newest Atlanta Brave that we brought up on the Daily Wires. What was that, Friday of last week, or did we talk about it yesterday?
Yeah, it was
Eric Fetty.
Yeah, I think it was yesterday.
The newest pitcher for the Atlanta Braves. He's on the mound with the first pitch of 7:40.
Wow.
So we'll get a look at him.
Is that a good thing? Like, you're having to allow guys to start. Hey, welcome to Atlanta. You're starting tomorrow, by the way.
Yeah, put your bag down, suit up, go play. 2 days from today, we'll get started with the Greenville County High School football kickoff show. This is going to be big, Cole. 16 coaches slated to join us. What are they all going to get, about 90 seconds each?
14 seconds is what I limit them to.
Thanks for joining us, Coach. State your name?
Yep.
Talk to you later.
You know what's funny? Me trying to, today I did this morning, trying to fit 16-plus coaches into a 4-hour show with time slots. It was kind of tough. I'm not going to lie to you. But we did it, and we're ready.
This is going to be a logistical challenge for us.
It's going to be fun.
But, I know you've been kicking butt putting this thing together. So, Greenville County High School football fans, you're up on Thursday. Spartanburg on Friday. New York Mayor Eric Adams said Tuesday that the gunman who killed 4 people in a Manhattan office building was trying to target the NFL headquarters, but accidentally took the wrong elevators. Investigators believe that Shane Tamura was trying to get the NFL offices after shooting several people in the building's lobby, but accidentally got on the wrong set of elevators and went to a business headquarters that had nothing to do with what he was actually there to do. And he took more lives on that floor. Police said that the perpetrator had a history of mental illnesses, and in a rambling note found on his body suggested that he had a grievance against the NFL over an unsubstantiated claim that he suffered from CTE.
It's just sad all the way around, man. It really is.
Yeah, blaming the NFL. Again, you can't try to rationalize the thoughts of a crazy person, but he played high school football in California, but blamed the NFL for his CTE. Sad news for Major League Baseball fans. Ryne Sandberg, a Hall of Fame second baseman who became one of baseball's best all-around players while starting for the Chicago Cubs, died Monday at the age of 65. He was surrounded by his family when he died in his home.
Sad. I heard a really good interview with, or on the Rich Eisen show with a little bit of a tribute. One of the best. I mean, really positive things to say. He's one of those guys that just seems like he did it the right way.
The Colts have locked up one of their most important players for years to come, left tackle Bernard Raymond, a former tight end at Central Michigan who has blossomed into one of the team's most indispensable players, signed a contract extension. It's for 4 years and is worth $100 million.
Woo, rich man.
Yeah, good for you, man. Dallas Cowboys dodged a major injury concern when an MRI revealed that left tackle Tyler Guyton did not suffer a torn ACL in his right knee in Monday's practice. He sustained a bone fracture and is looking at a recovery of 4 to 6 weeks, but it will not require surgery.
Yeah, you can't have a young guy like that go out. He's one of the best, or one of the up-and-coming pieces on that offensive line.
I've never heard anybody say, at least it's just a bone fracture.
Yeah, thank God. Thank God for the bone fracture.
Hub City Spartanburgers back at home tonight hosting the Asheville Tourists. Toss it Tuesday, 6:35 first pitch. 2 days until football is back. Thursday, we'll see Chargers and Lions.
Let's go.
In the NFL Hall of Fame game. It's currently
go.
a pick'em, and that means it's a dead even matchup.
How about that? That's pretty funny. No spread on it, right? I mean,
can we make this game mean something? I mean, what are we really playing this game for?
I love it. I'm ready. I will watch every snap Thursday. I'm so ready.
Do any starters make it past the first quarter?
Probably not.
No. Cleveland Browns cornerback Martin Emerson Jr. was carted off the field during Tuesday's practice after suffering an Achilles injury. He'll undergo an MRI to confirm the severity of that one. More injury news for your Dallas Cowboys, Cole. They'll be without cornerback Kalen Carson 4 to 6 weeks after he suffered a hyperextended knee on Sunday. He didn't practice yesterday, and that's certainly going to be tough on an already thin position group.
No doubt.
And a couple more here for you. In case you missed it, Colorado head coach Deion Sanders announced that he is cancer-free. That's fantastic. He underwent bladder surgery after they discovered a tumor there, and now they're saying there are no traces of cancer.
Good to hear. Good to hear.
South Carolina edge rusher Dylan Stewart is one of 60 players listed as a contender for the 2025 Bronco Nagurski Trophy. Good for him. And finally, Cole, ending on some good news. Tyrese Halliburton didn't win an NBA championship ring, but he did get a different kind of ring. He proposed to his longtime girlfriend, Jade Jones. He staged the proposal inside of Iowa State's basketball arena where they both went to school.
Also, congratulations to P.J. Hall. I just saw yesterday that he got engaged as well. So congratulations to the former Clemson Tiger and Dorman Cavalier. You mentioned it. Let's dive back into the conversation. Horrible story out of New York City last night. We'll touch on it next.